Hi, my name is Sierra Jacobs. I'm 15 years old and one of the 2011-2012 PCBA scholarship winners. First of all, I'd like to say thanks to Alicia Halbert, Bob Patilla, Lou Torrey, James Getty, and Kim Kappas. Your help and encouragement throughout the year has been invaluable to me. This year has been an amazing experience for me. I went from not knowing anything about bees to knowing how to reverse a severe laying worker hive. It all started for me last October when I found out about the scholarship program. In the beginning, I was more concerned about the honey. However, my mom encouraged me to enjoy the bees. During the winter, I studied the book and worked on my tests, and in the spring, I was ready to build my hive. After the hive was built, I waited for the bees to come, and I had to wait another month. During the time I was waiting, I worked at the PCBA booth at the fair. When the bees came, I was really excited and hoped they would enjoy the hive and the new house I had prepared for them. After they were safely in my hive, I would check on them as often as I could, wanting to make sure they were happy. Things were going well, but I had still not seen my queen yet, and I thought, well, maybe I just missed her, and went on with things. Soon I started to see eggs in the brood chamber, and I was quite relieved. I left them alone so as not to disturb the newly forming bees. When I had waited a sufficient amount of time, I opened up the hive to see if everybody had hatched. To my horror, I found that my cute hive of worker bees had been transformed to these mutant eyeball bees. I emailed my mentors in a panic and said that something must have gone very wrong. They assured me it was nothing more than a hatch of drones. I felt relieved, but I wondered why so many drones had hatched instead of workers. I assumed maybe my queen had not gone out on her mating flight yet, and continued to do my routine checks. Soon enough, I saw with great hopes and anticipation that I was due to have another hatch. What a relief to have more workers to help out in the hive. When the new bees hatched, I was disappointed to find that it was more drones and no new workers. I was told that my queen had most likely died and that the eggs being laid were from a worker queen. I looked into procuring another queen, but found that the new queen would most likely be killed by the worker queen. The one other option to save my hive would be to have my hive raise the new queen themselves. This would require infusions of frames with eggs, larvae, and the nurse bees on the frames. Hopefully this option would work, and my hive would be able to raise their new queen. I received my first 3 frames from a fellow beekeeper. I put the frames in and waited a day or two to give them time to adjust. When I checked on them next, I found that they were doing well and that they had already capped some of the larvae already. In the middle of this process of infusing my hive, I found out that my dad got a job in Eastern Washington and that we would be moving in a month and a half. This would barely give me enough time to raise the new queen and have her go out on her mating flight. I was gone on a trip when the queens hatched. However, I had now successfully raised a queen and my hive was getting back on its feet. New workers were hatching and my hive was gaining strength. Every time I checked on my hive, things were going well. My family, except for my dad, who had to finish his old job, moved to our new house, and the bees, left in a stable condition, waited till the next trip to bring them over the Cascades. The bees made the trip just fine, and when I checked on them after they had arrived, I found it was just as I had left it. However, a week or so later, I noticed that I had not seen my queen lately, and that the population was down. I found the beginnings of a few queen cells and closed up the hive to let them raise their new queen. Apparently the queen had been lost during the trip, and once again they were queenless. I decided not to disturb them to prevent them from being distressed. When I checked on them a while later, I found the queen cells untouched and the hive population dramatically decreased. By this time in the year, we were getting nightly frosts, and I thought it too late in the season to try and start over again. I called my mentors and told them what had happened, and I opted to try again next year. This year, I failed to keep a hive alive successfully. However, I do not intend to quit, and am determined to start again next year. Through this experience, I have had the opportunity to mentor other beekeepers on the subject of laying worker hives. Without this experience at the time, I would be at a loss of what to do had this situation come up 2 months or 2 years after I had moved. I have thoroughly enjoyed my experience this year with the Pierce County Beekeepers Association and all the wonderful people in it. Thank you for allowing me to participate.